It's been a turbulent week for world football. 14 people have been charged by the US over alleged corruption at FIFA. And on Tuesday, the man at the top, Sepp Blatter, resigned. The Swiss authorities are also investigating corruption allegations linked to Russia's successful bid to host the World Cup in 2018 and Qatar's in 2022. Well, 4 other countries, as well as Qatar, launched bids to host the World Cup in 2022. They were the United States, Japan, Australia and South Korea. Well, Jack Hand is a football journalist based in South Korea. He joins us live from Seoul. Jack, thanks so much for talking to us here this afternoon. As we were saying, a week of extraordinary revelations as far as FIFA is concerned. 14 charged with corruption. Sepp Blatter stepping down for all these years. How has this all been reported there? What kind of news is it making in South Korea?
Well, obviously it's made big news. There is the MERS epidemic at the moment in Korea, which is rather scary. That's taken up a lot of headlines, which perhaps is rather lucky for Sepp Blatter. But in Korea, they've actually given FIFA an astonishingly easy ride. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. I mean, Korea has done exceptionally well under FIFA over the last 10 years, last few decades. It hosted the 2002 World Cup. It's hosted the Under-17 World Cup. It will host the Under-20 World Cup. It almost won the Women's World Cup bid. So Korea is very much etched into the echelons of FIFA. Chung Mong-jun, who was the FIFA vice president for 17 years, is at the centre of FIFA politics. He actually stood down in 2011. He's the main shareholder in Hyundai, who also are a sponsor of FIFA, one of their big backers. And he is now looking to run a bid himself, potentially going to be the next president of FIFA. But he is not being charged, and there's no kind of hint that he has had there's been any problem with him in terms of corruption. But he's obviously been on the board for a long time, and he knows how FIFA works.
Well, yes, and we can talk about a little bit later if we have time about whether he could be a unifying figure. A lot of candidates putting themselves forward now. But what about the 2022 World Cup that was awarded to Qatar? That's clearly being investigated now. We don't have all the facts yet. They're yet to come out of this investigation. But do you sense a kind of drive there for that to be rerun, for the votes to be cast again, given that South Korea had put itself forward first time round?
Well, I think every country who lost that bid would want it to be the bid to go again, because obviously they have a chance of getting the tournament. But I mean, there isn't actually a big drive for it here. I mean, Korea itself has played the politics of FIFA very well over the last few decades. And vice versa. And of course, when the vote and the bids came out, Korea didn't vote for England. Chung Mong-jun voted for Russia instead. And Jeff Thompson allegedly asked him, why is this? Why have you not voted for us? You promised. And Chung Mong-jun apparently said, well, that's the politics of football.
And what about feelings there about how FIFA could be reformed, how difficult a task it potentially could be in the future?
Well, Korea is a country which will always back its own to the hilt, and that's the same on many different aspects of society. Chung Mong-jun will be meeting with Michel Platini, apparently tonight or tomorrow, just before the Champions League final. They are going to, obviously, you would imagine, have a discussion about who will lead the bid to take over Sepp Blatter. I mean, Chung Mong-jun, he has run for president, he has run for mayoral elections for Seoul. I mean, he's a big figure here, huge figure. He has been part of FIFA for 17 years. And you would have to say that if he would be the next president of FIFA, really the man which FIFA needs to clear its decks and reform and start all over again. I mean, he has been a critic of Blatter. He turned his scorn to Blatter several years back. But, it would be very, very interesting to see what the outcome of that meeting will be between Platini and Mr. Chung.
And yesterday, the Culture Secretary said that England will be ready to host the tournament should either Qatar or Russia be stripped of those tournaments further down the line. How would something like that play in South Korea?
Yeah, I mean, I think South Korea would probably rather support a World Cup in England in the summertime. I mean, that would fit in quite well with Korea. That's something which I think Korea would very much support. I think the whole world would be behind the World Cup in England. The question is, of course, that there are all sorts of complications if FIFA will change its mind and decide to rehold a bid, because, for example, Hyundai, as I mentioned, is one of the big sponsors. It has a huge stake in Qatar's construction site for the World Cup in 2022. Of course, that itself has created a lot of controversy. Amnesty International compared Qatar to a slave state. But Hyundai subsidiary, a company which has a major stake in, has actually won a $900 million contract to build those stadiums and other construction there. So, I mean, there are all sorts of complications. Reholding a bid would be fantastic for England, and it'd be fantastic for the World Game. But is it honestly feasible? And will any new president have the gumption to do it? That's a big question I think we need to seriously ask.
A lot of big calls being asked, and still a lot of answers yet to come. Jack Hans, though, very interesting to get the South Korean take on things. Thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Anna.